Almost everyone is here. Nick said he will be late. He's not so late. Piotr is not joining because he's got some party going on, so he has to attend the party. Then I don't think we'll see Daniel and Sipke because they are at a customer's place. And if you are a friend of Sipke on Facebook, you will see where he went with his Tesla, far away. Let's update the code and open Visual Studio just to see the status. So I close this thing. So any demos today? Nick, demos? Nick? No, we don't. We can't hear you. Maybe you'll have to reconnect. Sometimes it happens.
Hello.
We can hear you now. But
oh, okay, cool. Is my volume okay?
Nope. Higher, please.
Is it better?
Perfect.
Okay, I'll demo vNext if that's okay.
Yes.
I need to get it kicked up first, so give me 2 seconds.
Okay, so vNext from Nick. Anyone else?
I'll mute until I demo. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, no other demo. Do I have demos? No. I'm sure Zoltan will come with some topics to talk about. Someone is playing drums on his desk. Thank you for muting or stopping that. Thank you. Okay, status. Going back here, 6 days. So this is Daniel work on the layout. You can see that he's working on inline editing in the admin, mostly on the HTML editor. So when you edit the HTML elements, you can directly edit it without a pop-up and the full editor. No reference in tags from Nick. Is it related to an open bug? I don't think so.
I actually fixed most of these bugs. I fixed with a client while we were working through a couple issues. That's fine. Pretty funny.
As long as you don't break anything. Yes, this one, I think there's an open bug for that.
Oh, really?
Actually, yes.
I'll hunt down later.
Yep. Someone was, because most of our themes use the same ID and the name, but when you create a specific name, you can see the bug. And yeah, this is the ID, correct.
I never used theme preview until I did. Yeah.
Actually, maybe the solution is to... Well, that's weird because it should have worked using the theme ID. Here, maybe it's the issue here. The theme ID should have been the ID, and you should still display the name inside the dropdown.
No, that's not the name that's being displayed. That's the value attribute, I think.
Look at the code in red here. I'm sure.
Yeah, but look at the second value. You're passing the themes in.
Yes, but the dropdown should display the name, and you should pass the ID as the value. And maybe the issue is in here. This maybe is getting the name instead of the ID. So you map the theme ID to the actual ID. So here the issue is. This is the issue.
I'll take another look later on. There was a reason why I did it that way, but I'll take another look. That's cool.
Okay. Zoltan added inline documentation for Owin types, also made the change for renaming. We talked about it offline. Owin middlewares that will be injected into the Orchard. So yeah, inline documentation. And also in the startup, good. And it changed the name from Owin middleware to Owin middleware registration. The issue is that the class Owin middleware actually lets you register multiple middlewares. So they are not actual middlewares, they are middleware registrations. And the provider will let you provide different middleware registrations. So he renamed the file from Owin middleware to Owin middleware registration. Okay, so very simple change, but just for the sake of clarity. Fixing CS proj, okay, fine. Bertrand merging his branch. Adding Rebracer config file to automatically set the condition brace string styling. Yeah, so this is something we talked about a few weeks back. A default Rebracer configuration. This is a plugin that lets you define the code styling. So if you have the plugin enabled, it will pick up the default styling for the Visual Studio, for the editor. That's good. Tabifying, fine. Bertrand working on the import-export branch. Wow, lots of work. Or is it just renaming? Nope. Lot of work. Yes, well, new property on the Azure file system to access the cloud storage directly. A new Azure SDK 2.5 on which branch? On one.x. Merging. Cleaning. Where is that? What are you doing? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, there's an extra li. So what happens is that the default thing just shows a blank dot. So it makes no sense to put hidden values inside of an empty li, essentially.
Correct. Adding Web Essentials solution wide settings. The same thing for Web Essentials. Okay. This one. Formatting. Okay. Disabling compile on save for less and TypeScript. Okay, I'd like to know how we can change it on a case-by-case basis. And the text here is not what the file change represents. Oh yes, some other defaults. And you see it's on save. Here it's just changing the on build, which is different. And this way I'm fine with that. That on change you generate it and not on build. Okay. But the text is misleading here. Adding methods to automatically export and import infoset data. So Zoltan added a new method in the base content part driver, a helper method, protected, which will let you, with this call import infoset, just copy paste the infoset data into the export document. This way, if you want to implement import export and all your data is already in the infoset, you don't have to implement all the little properties in import export. You can just say import infoset or export infoset. And you can also do that by default if you want, and then add the custom properties you don't have in the infoset. Or handle the specific relationship with other elements. So this is a helper method. And it could not be done by default because it will have broken some of the existing part drivers. Yeah, I didn't read the chat. You'll keep me up to date with that. This one, normalizing line endings in membership, okay, just formatting. Angular specific stuff from Sipke on the layout. App configuration accessor. So Zoltan added an iApp configuration accessor in the framework so that you can implement custom location for the configuration. The default implementation is using the current one, which is a configuration manager, but this way we'll be able, pertinent or to define where to store the settings or to override where they are stored. So it's an unbreaking change, but a new interface to abstract where the settings are stored. Layout 2 days ago, so last weekend. Inline editing, use password hashes are not created with pbkdf2. So there's a bug open for that, and we opened it. So let's look at it, what we said. But I assume it changed the default. Oh, he forgot to. This was for the unit test. Okay, I assume it changed the default. Why is it a change here? Yeah, maybe it's in web helpers. Default hashing algorithm. Let's see how it's implemented. So default is this one. Let me check. Yes, so the default user hash algorithm is this one. Okay.
How does this affect current users who are SHA-1?
Sorry?
How will this affect current people? So if we
won't affect, because in a table we store the hash algorithm which is used. Clear,
of course, yeah.
SHA-1 and this one, which means all existing user accounts will still be using SHA-1, but every new one will be using the new one. And there could be an optional feature that will have you, when you authenticate using and it detects it's a SHA-1, it will say, oh, please change your password or re-enter your password, so that we could change it to a PBK1. That could be a different feature if you need it to do that.
Okay.
I will just have to review the code and ask also some security experts to review it, just to see if there is anything that could be an issue here. That should be the same implementation as a SHA-1, but just to be sure, I haven't looked at the code yet. Restore missing view, fix layout, inline editing. Solombic has been very active. So again, 20. So I remember this bug.
That's an awesome change. That's something that a lot of people ask for.
Yes.
What's the recipe parser like?
The same recipe files. It's just a new property in the setup recipe. True.
But does it have to scan through all? What's the recipe parser like? Does it have to scan through all the modules or something?
Yes. It has to.
And what does it look inside of a recipes folder, or is it?
Yes, like before. Recipes like before, but you can have the ones for setup only.
Okay, well, we might as well look at moving the blog recipe and the core recipe into the retrospective modules out of setup.
Correct. We could make it new. Yep. This is valid. Yes.
Okay.
See setup recipe. I could have used a try parse here to prevent any failure if you misspell true, false. And try parse and parse, or and try parse and value. That would have been even better. Fix default layout, renaming leftover field in package manager, fine layout, z index layout. Wow, they worked a lot. Interesting. I would have liked a demo, but they won't be here. And then Lombic. Oh, naming. Okay. Formatting. Compilation error. Okay. Refactoring. That's fine. Formatting theme templates. Fine. Packaging services controller. Oh, he's working on the install feature. And the uninstall button in a different branch. Awesome. Ooh. So when do we see something, Bertrand? If you think you're talking, we can't hear you. If you are not, that's fine. It looks great. We'll have to look at that. Streamlining migration from published later and adding description for archive later part. Okay. Fixing ironic typo. PKB, PBK.
Because that I added that constant specifically to prevent typos in the identifier.
Oh yeah, okay, so yes, you could even have called it, okay, default hash algorithm. But yeah, the two will have made sense.
Oh my! Whoa.
Is it really necessary?
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't see this code. Usually you don't need a static bool method to check equality between two strings. That's kind of obvious when you check equality. But that looks good. Thank you. So just a comment on the people in the meeting. We got some MVP members. And when I say MVP, I don't mean ASP.NET MVP, I mean Orchard MVPs. Adrian is back. I see Chad. I see Jay. Jeff. Philip is back. Sean is back. And he's also MVP. ASP.NET. So that's awesome. What did I miss in the chat? Did someone, I saw Antoine pasting some links. New Orchard project theme. Any update on that, Antoine? I know there are two. Yes, I have a messy desktop.
I spent some time getting up to date with Antoine on the...
Sean, we can't hear you. It's too low.
I spent some time... Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I spent some time talking with Antoine in the chat about getting up to speed with the website development.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big part of the chat, just Antoine and I going back and forth.
Good, thank you. Okay, Nick, demo?
Yep. How do I share my screen?
I can give you access. That's fine. Wait.
Do I need to request presenter
No,
role?
that's fine. I'm passing it to you directly.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, cool. So I've been working on a little bit of vNext stuff. So some of the stuff I'm going to demo. Let me kick up Notepad++.
Just a reminder for the new old ones. Nick has been working on vNext for the past few months, meaning he's got a repository in the Orchard CMS account on GitHub. And so everything he's doing is public, and he's done some great progress on using everything from vNext.
Thanks, man. So the stuff I'm going to demo today, one of the things that I've been working on that's taken me quite a lot of time is the replacement of the build manager. So that's basically dynamically compiling assemblies on the fly. So what I'm going to show is dynamic compilation on the fly. So building modules where they're not referenced. Okay, and so that's one thing. The next thing I'm going to show is Owin, but the Owin replacement.
Yeah, it's no more Owin. You can't name it Owin. It's not Owin.
That's why I said Owin replacement.
Okay.
The new Owin.
It's not even
equals middleware. How's that? Does that?
You are not allowed to use the word Owin in this project.
All right.
So don't use Owin.
Middleware.
Middlewares.
Middlewares. How's that? So I'll show. I plugged in Middlewares. That took me no time at all after this. And I'm sure there's one more thing, but I don't remember what it is at this point in time. So
modules.
Well, I'll show modules. The idea is I was going to show dynamic compilation on the fly as modules. Dynamic compilation does not mean that I can change code on the fly at this point in time. It just means that what it means at this point in time is that so let me explain. In vNext, you have a host. So let's say Orchard.web. And every project that's referenced in Orchard.web, so let's say module 1 and module 2. So let's say Orchard.web has a reference to module 1 and module 2, but it does not have a reference to module 3, which is fine. You know, that can happen. So if we mark it, it has a reference. It has a reference. It does not have a reference. So when in code you say assembly.load module 1, that will get your module 1, and same with module 2. However, it doesn't know about module 3. So the design time host and also the K runtime, the Roslyn compiler, doesn't know anything about this. So module 3 will return null. So the hard thing about this is that with Orchard.web or with Orchard in general, you are normally working with this instance, module 3. Module 1 and module 2 might just be Orchard.framework or Orchard.core. So the hard part is getting this to work, because you want module 3 returned, and you want your dependencies injected in the right order and all that jazz. So what I'm going to demo is that quickly. So what I'll first do is I am going to kick up the K web. So I'm going to kick up Orchard, and what this is doing is it's going to kick up the host. So at this point in time, no tenants have been loaded. With what I've built so far, there is no caching. So we're going to see a little bit of lag, which we can look at later. But for the time being, this is what I'm going to demo. One other thing is I'm going to demo settings. Cool. So I've kicked it up. Let's go to a URL. So I've got home/index. And you can see that the request is probably about, it's about one and a half seconds. And what this is doing, if I jump back, this is doing a lot of stuff. Can I just, if I put this, cool. So it's doing a lot of stuff. Let me see if I can expand this a little bit. Height 3000. Let me just kick this, let me kick it again. It's interesting to see the very start. We start again, CLS. Height. Oh, 3000. Okay, cool. So let's kick this up again. Let's wait for the host to kick up. Cool. If we kick this again. So you can see that there's a lot of basically everything that the K runtime and the MVC framework can pump out. I am literally just outputting it. So I don't really care what it is. I just want to know that it's outputting stuff. So if I scroll up, the first thing we can see is that we've initialized our host. We then started to create a shell context for that host. Now it knows the shell context based on the settings, and obviously based on the requests coming in. So just like in the Orchard version we've currently got, it matches against the settings, says hey, so on and so forth. This is the settings for this tenant. The next thing it starts to do is it looks for all the modules that we have. We don't have core at the moment, but I've left that there just for nostalgic purposes. So the next thing it does is it says, hey, okay, so I now need to go and load up my extensions. Now, the problem with this is that beforehand, it used to call something called the build manager. Now, in the K runtime, build manager doesn't exist, and there is no plug-in architecture within the K runtime. You have to go write it yourself. And that's what we've done. So this is calling the Roslyn compiler on the fly in order to build the assemblies in order. And I'll show that piece of code in a second. So what this does is it keeps it takes the assemblies, it then loads up all of the iDependencies, etc., using just the built-in iDependency injection framework that we've got in ASP.NET, and then it overrides a few things. And this is just MVC outputting a whole bunch of stuff, and then you finally got some routing, which is saying whether it's handled the route and then the end request. So if I start from the top and show you how it's loaded the extensions, that's one of the more interesting parts. So if I jump back to code, have we got anything in disconnect and reconnect? There's sound issues. Okay, cool. So nothing so far. Put this down here. So if I scroll, if I start from the beginning and show, so what we have is we have our Orchard starter. Now this is where it sets up the host. So at this point in time, the host is being set up. It's creating all our sites for everything bar the individual tenants. We then create a Owin pipeline. So the container middleware is something is setting up your individual tenants based on your host. Request prefix is the wrong thing. I need to change this. But what it's doing under the hood here is it's saying, okay, go in and create my shell. So, oh yeah, I haven't got resharp it here. Go in and create my shell. So it's then coming into here and saying, okay, compose my shell, which is my composition, which is in here, and it's getting me all the dependencies based on the dependency that I want, so based on my assembly. But the hard part is that you've got to create the dependency first. Now that's done using, how's this done? Have a look. So, well, it's then setting it up and then it's creating the container. So shell container factory. Just need to remember how this is all set up. Just scroll up. Can't quite remember myself. Code settings. I think that, so this is calling a builder somewhere. I can't remember exactly the area of code, but the builder is calling into this loaders, so extension loaders, which is calling default extension loader. And what we are using here is our own assembly loader. So it's called an extension assembly loader. Now with ASP.NET vNext, you can call assembly.load, and one of the things it will do is if you wrap it in something called a loader context, it will actually call the loader context first, and then it will call any other assembly loaders. So essentially what you're doing is you're setting up you're putting this loader to the very top, and then it will carry on afterwards. So what we're doing is we're calling assembly.load with our descriptor ID, and then extension assembly loader. So if I go into that, what this is doing is quite cool, actually. So we have an inbuilt Roslyn compiler. I took a leaf from the MVC team where they took the Roslyn compiler from K runtime and moved it into their code base. We're doing exactly the same, as it kind of just made sense. We have to do a few other things in here to handle it, but the cool thing is that what happens here is you compile the project. So you set up a whole bunch of dependencies, and then you compile the project, and what this outputs is something called a compilation context. And what you need to do to compile the next project is you need to keep hold of the project reference for Roslyn, and then inject that into your next one. So what we do is we set one up, we cache it, and then for the next module, so let's say we created the lowest down module in our hierarchy, let's say test one, it will cache test one, and then the demo module, which has a dependency on test one, it will then use the Roslyn project reference and inject that in. These should stop me from being mentioned. Which is quite cool. So if I, for example, went to home controller and I put a breakpoint here, oops, just find KLR, and I refresh this, we should see, in theory, that we've injected in our class from our other, from test one. So I dependency is inside of here. iTest dependency is inside of here, another module, and we're just using say hi from shell settings. And that's all it's doing, is it's saying hi and pumping that out into a view. Oops, if I show, and you can see that my model is literally just say hi. So it's not terribly complex, but the amount of scaffolding that needed to be set up there's a lot there to be set up, but it works, which is very cool. So the next thing is Middlewares. So not Owin's, but Middlewares. So after looking at the work that Sebastian and me and Zoltan did, I thought it would be kind of cool to plug in middleware into our pipeline. So I was able to take most of the work that that was done and plug it straight in. Obviously renaming Owin to just middleware registration. So we've got Orchard middleware. And so if you, from the demo last week, if you just rename Owin middleware to just remove the word Owin, your stuff should just work out of the box. So I can show that by bringing this up. And if I do a refresh, you should see middleware, hello Orchard, and there's also an X generator, which is also generated from middleware. So if I jump back to my code and I go to test middleware, you can see middleware, hello Orchard. And that is being injected from another module. So that's not being injected from the core framework. That is another module that's referenced from another module, which is very cool. The next thing I wanted to demo was settings. So one thing that the vNext allows you to do is to use an interface called iConfiguration. And to use iConfiguration, or to call it, all you do is you do new configuration, and then you say add JSON file, or add XML file. And what that does, what it allows you to do is basically build up a manifest based on many files. So what I've done is I've allowed in our code, in the vNext code base, to allow you to do this. If you do settings.json and settings.xml, you can have a settings.json file, a settings.xml file, a settings.ini file. There's not a YAML file yet, but you also have the default one, which is, I think it's just add file or something along those lines, which will also allow you to just do setting.text. So it's still backwards compatible, but it allows you to build up your entire configuration based on many files of many different types of formats. So I've also plugged that in for people. So that's where I am so far. Questions?
Cool. Questions?
I'm sure you've got many, Sebastian, so you might as well ask away.
When is it fast?
Well, why is it fast?
No, when?
When I haven't plugged any caching in. So when I look at the caching,
it should be a bit caching. Even without caching, it should be fast. But yeah, now it's still.
Well, no. Every single request, it compiles every single module. It builds every single dependency hierarchy up. I have done no caching.
Okay, this caching. Okay.
This is the output caching is very different to yeah.
Cool.
At the moment, what you've got with the regular Orchard is you have a lot of different caching layers that you probably aren't aware of. So if you take all of those out, then you end up with recompiling stuff every single time.
And that's quite impressive. So basically, on every page view, you have a whole Orchard application start.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it means Orchard starts in 2 seconds.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
We'll see.
Well, it's about 1.5 seconds. But don't forget that you're recompiling every time. So if you get rid of that, and then you cache your roots as well, you get rid of a lot of the framework. So yeah.
Great. Let me check.
Nick, I have a question.
Yep.
Is the main advantage of using the vNext that you don't have to be using the entirety of the .NET framework, and that speeds things up? Is that the main reason that things get sped up?
So system.web has a lot of overhead when kicking up a website. So the advantage of using something like vNext moves away from all that overhead, and just what you do is it's more like an opt-in architecture rather than you get it all for free. So you say, I want to opt into this, rather than something saying to you, you must opt into it.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, you just choose what you want, and that's makes it a faster compilation.
Exactly. So you say, hey, I want to opt into this, and that's what, and then you know what overhead you have, whereas you're not reliant on system.web, which says you get all of this, regardless of whether you're going to use it or not. Yeah.
Cool.
I also posted a few things around Entity Framework on the forums.
So next week we see demos with storage.
Well, yeah, if you ever answer Skype, you might be able to help me on that. But yeah, there's a Entity Framework and file system APIs. Those are the two things that I want to focus on next. I don't want to focus on caching just yet.
Okay. Anyone wants to talk about something? Zoltan, how many things today? Did we lose Zoltan? Hello?
Not yet. Still everything is work in progress.
Okay, so no topics today. Ambassadors, I saw a website.
Yeah, but that's also not done yet. Well, not done. It's not loaded with the necessary content yet. Maybe next week.
Okay, cool. So last week I noted code samples for Middlewares. Zoltan worked on it. Include Roslyn code dump compiler by default. Did anyone try it?
No, I haven't looked at it.
That should be pretty easy. Okay, cool. Let's see, what are we missing? A quick social lookup to see what happened last week. A new website, simple one. Steven is asking, when do we ship 1.9? Same answer as every week, when those 10 bugs are fixed. And yes, with the layout module, and hopefully with the new layout module, the new. Advertisement, blah, 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 blah. I didn't see any new website. Oh, yeah, I saw several job offers. Move to from UK. You know these guys, Nick Isham?
What, in Southampton? I actually don't know them. No, I don't know those guys.
I think they are the ones who did this website, Fable Legends, the Xbox game website. So this is Orchard.
I saw they had affiliation with Microsoft or something along those lines.
And they wrote an article about how they did that and how it helped using Orchard. So I think
they're looking for a permie though, so yeah, I'm not sure.
And those guys are in, I think, Texas. I'm not sure. Yes, Texas, Waco. So they were looking for Orchard devs. Some talk with Catherine about accessibility. Benedek shipping the new video. People liking Orchard. And this is about it. I assume. Cool.
Yeah.
What am I missing? I'm sure I'm missing some obvious stuff. Harvest. No news for Harvest. I don't know if there have been some talks on the forum. Waterfront Seattle, is that? Please don't paste some jokes, because. Did you do that, Sean? This really is Orchard. Beautiful. Oh yes, this thing. Cool. Looks nice. So what was I saying? Bertrand also? Wow, great. What was I saying? Did I mention something? Oh yes, this is why you did the PDF indexer. Okay, cool. So yes, the Harvest. No news. I don't remember where. Yeah, I think we just stopped at where do we host Harvest. Opening for the discussion for suggestions. England, Spain.
Well, it's going to be London, right?
We don't know. It could be England without London. It could be London. We have, yeah. There are some pros and cons. Could be Spain. Could be East Europe. Could be, yeah. But it will be in Europe. Where is Blackpool?
No.
Where is
No. No. That's already. No. We're not going to Blackpool.
Oh, my computer is slow right now.
No.
Blackpool, United Kingdom. Bath. I've been to Bath, Nick.
I don't believe you.
Yes, I've been there.
We're not going to Blackpool.
Oh no,
Above the
Blackpool. We're
M25,
not going to Blackpool.
Northern.
No way.
God no. Bath would be quite cool.
Where is Bath? I don't even know where. I've been
Right in the middle of your screen.
Right in the middle of my screen. Yes, here.
Yeah.
Where are you, Nick, right now? Are you in London?
I'm in London, yeah.
Were you in Bath at some point?
Yeah, I used to live in Bath.
Okay.
Remember Bath Spa University was the first Orchard website?
Okay. Yep, correct. So that's why. Okay.
It went live with no caching.
Sean, I have never been to Europe. George asking for Barcelona. I didn't see it. Yeah, Barcelona, London actually on my side would be the top ones. Very accessible from everywhere. Could be more Central Europe, Germany. Will help a lot of people from Poland and Hungary. We know them.
Sivka would travel, not Sivka, Piotr would travel anywhere.
Yes. As long as there's beer.
As long as there's beer and he can bring some of his own vodka, then you're quite all right.
Yep, I agree, George. Munich, Berlin. Yeah, lots of possibilities in Europe, actually. I don't even know how do we decide. Do we just, does the dictator says where we'll do that? I assume we should at least look up at the costs.
Reading has got a massive, Reading in England has got a massive Microsoft campus.
That could be a solution to cut the costs.
Like they have, I think they have like seven or eight buildings there, and London has got a really big one in Victoria.
Yeah, sometimes we tried. I don't know for the past time using Microsoft. I think it was from Santa Monica. We asked for Microsoft offices, but it was too small and not willing to do that. So it depends.
This one hosts the MSDN stuff, so I mean it's pretty big. Last time I went there.
But where is Reading?
Well, no, the London one. There's one in London as well, and that hosts like MSCN and a bunch of BCS stuff. And last time I went there, it was quite big. So when you walk in, it's got Xboxes on the wall and stuff. So could be
we don't
comfy.
care. We don't decide on the location based on Xboxes on the wall.
Oh my god!
Sorry. Does Orchard work on the Xbox? Yes, it works on the Xbox. Didn't you know that? Yeah, I think it's some of the content you see on the Xbox is driven by Orchard. So I don't know if I told you, and I can't remember if I am allowed to tell you, but yes, some of the content on the Xbox is coming from Orchard. So Halo News probably is coming from Orchard because Halo is using Orchard as a content management system. Yep. Okay. Any other topic? But will be nice to be consulted since I didn't phone and launch Harvest. But viewer 33, who are you? Maybe you are Ilan, and maybe you should be public about it, that you're Ilan and talk. I don't know. I can just assume you're Ilan viewer 33. If you say you found and launch Harvest. Okay, that's you, Ilan. But you are like hidden. We don't know it's you.
Can't even see him.
You see, viewer 33.
No, he's not on my chat.
I can view him. Oh, he's talking to me. So you can see it. He's talking to me. He's hidden and hidden. So you don't know who he is, and you don't know that he's talking to me. Crazy. Damn, I didn't see that. Sorry, Ilan. Okay, great. We'll end up there then.
Cool.
Thank you, Nick, for the demo. I'm sure we got some layout demos next week from Daniel Sinker. And hopefully some more bug fixes. Thanks everyone for coming back to the meeting. Thanks, Jay, for all your work on the pull request and the bug fixes. And Jeff too. That's it. See you next week.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.